Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show that doesn't talk about Riot's MMO, but I swear to God we still talk about interesting things. It's been a while since we have covered the news, simply because there was a lot of things to talk about. But now we are back, so as always, let's start with what is happening in League of Legends. In the last PBE cycle, which we didn't even have time to cover, we got the Steel Valkyries. Originally, they were teased with a text file that was purposefully left inside the PBE files. That file had a short description of the Steel Valkyries universe and all the characters present there. But now we can actually talk about the skins, starting with the commander of the strike team Hyperion, Camille. While technical skins such as Project focus more on the darker side of these technical universes, the Steel Valkyries are a bit more lighter and more anime version of these. Compared to the other skins, the Strike Commander Camille has a very unique model. It has purple and gold spell effects, which a few months ago everyone would link to prestige skins, but combined with the metal elements of the base model, it looks really good. She also unfurls wings when she's flying around. But the most interesting is her ultimate, which has a galactic grid underneath it. It is very subtle, but it brings so much life into this ability. Next, there is Strike Paladin Lucian, which is probably the goofiest of these. He already has a futuristic skin, so normally I would be like, wow, those spell effects are really cool. But you know, we have kinda already seen that. That said, it is still pretty cool. I'm just not a big fan of the base model. It has 4 colors, white, yellow, red and the green details, which may be overloading it on colors. So yeah, Lucian is Lucian. On the opposite spectrum though, we have the Armored Titan Nasus, who looks chunky and beefy and gorgeous. It has silver and light green colors, but his abilities are outlined with bright yellow, which really makes them pop out. And during his ultimate, the yellow glow overtakes everything. And for as simple as Nasus is, this skin improves every aspect of him. Simply said, this skin is really good, and dare I say, it is better than his legendary skins. Next there is Cyber Halo Janna. Looking at the splash art, I did kinda expect her to look like Mercy from Overwatch. I mean, look at the recoil. But unfortunately, she doesn't have her wings out by default. All of her abilities have a nice technical touch. Her shield feels like a sci-fi shield. Her W has a little electric zap. Her ultimate matches the theme too. Unfortunately though, the most iconic of her abilities, the tornado, is just a tornado. It does spawn from a teleporter, but I was expecting it to look a bit more techy. Overall though, the base model is gorgeous. And of course, because someone needs to have a prestige version, Janna is the one who got it. What is awesome about this one is that once again, it feels like a totally unique skin. Her armor is different, her staff is different, and even her companion saw to some changes. Her abilities are very similar to the base version, but they do have the gold and silver coloring. Except for her ultimate, which also has an extra pillar of light and some patterns underneath her. So overall, this is exactly what prestige skins should be like. Then of course, all of the new skins also got new chroma versions. Most of these are fine, but because Lucian has 4 different colors, even his chromas can't really save him. Except for the one version where he only has 2 colors, that's the purple and green. Aetherwing Kale, who is from the same universe, also got 6 new chromas. And there is also an extra chroma for Gangplank, Renata and Kai'Sa. But there is also a new Mythic chroma. In case you don't know, these chromas are higher quality, but they only appear in the Mythic store. Last time we got an amazing new variation for Viego, and this time we are getting a new Mythic chroma for Ezreal. This chroma skin reskinned everything, from his model to his spells to his recall assets. It is simply a really cool one, and as long as they keep changing the abilities too, I am very happy with Riot making more of these. Then, because the Steel Valkyries will have a mini event, there are also some icons for the event, also some icons for the champions, 3 new emotes and 2 new wards. But there are also some special full moon icons and emotes. I don't really know where we'll be able to get these from. Is there a full moon happening, or is this just a celebration in the east? You know they have the Eastern Moon Rabbit there. It might actually be an event in the East because they are also getting the Milk Tea Poro, which is connected to the 2022 anniversary of Korean League. So we might not be able to get these. From this cycle we can also mention that Fizz is getting new spell effects. Because all of his abilities are themed around water, they made sure the water looks more realistic. And lastly, since originally Spirit Guard Udyr launched with his own icons, they did give us new updated icons for the VGU as well. However, if you own the original Spirit Guard Udyr, they allow you to purchase these for 5 RP. Not even Blue Essence, RP. This feels so weird, it's like Riot asking us if they could just take $1 from us. It's not much, but they would take that $1. Why? How much do you think these will make you? Anyway, this is it for the first batch of PBE, because yeah, there is also the second batch that was revealed yesterday. In that new batch we got 4 more skins. There are the Zenith Games skins themed around futuristic sports. Blitzcrank is the referee. As is always the case with Blitzcrank, everything around him looks amazing. This is a gorgeous skin, but those animations are getting really old. They are really dragging him down. Then there is Jace, who is one of the competitors in these sports. That's why he looks like he has futuristic jersey. Honestly, even though Jace already has tech-based skins, this one still feels very unique. It is a really good one. And lastly, there is Lee Sin, similar to Blitzcrank. All his spell effects and the model are cool. It looks like he could be a Cyberpop skin. But the animations of this model are so old, you can really notice it. But at least his ultimate has a really cool scoring sound effect. And lastly, and perhaps the most important of these, there is also King Viego. This is a lore skin to celebrate the release of the Ruination novel. This is what Viego looked like before he caused the Ruination. What's interesting about this one is that it actually has its own category in the skins. So it is possible that we might also get the Argent Spear Callista. There is also Human Hecarim. Unless that's a legendary skin, I don't think Riot can pull that off. And there is also Human Thresh. The last time they did this, some people really didn't like it. Anyway, what's really cool about Viego's skin is that it also comes with fully modeled Isolde, which is quite insane. So in the future, you know, maybe the TFT devs can utilize that model. But that is it for PBE. Now before we fully leave League behind, we also need to have a look at the merch store. Now usually Korea gets their merch earlier than the rest of the world. And unfortunately not all the merch that appears there also appears in the rest of the world. So now we got 4 new pieces revealed. There is Morgana's ultimate statue, which also makes it to the west. These are the main line of statues in the merch store. But there is also Bimo and Bziggs, which I believe have like 50% chance to make it to the west. These are very different from what we are used to. There is also a little Star Guardian Tibbers, which I do believe will be exclusive. But there is also the spatula phone holder. I really hope this one makes it over, but somehow I doubt it will. I would love to get one though. But of course, this really isn't the merch that stirred up a debate. That would be the Star Guardian body pillows. Apparently these are exclusive in Korea because it is a collaboration with a pillow making company. Now forget Zoe for a second. Zoe is a massive rabbit hole and I am not getting anywhere near that. The issue is that in the Star Guardian universe, all of them are like 16. That's where I'm going to end this. I have nothing more to say. There is a reason why you probably won't see these in the West. So very quickly, let's move on to some other news. In TFT, the mid set was revealed. We are getting Teamfight Tactics Uncharted Realms. Now, I was invited to the playtest, but I couldn't make it, so all of this is new to me too. And actually, if you want a good summary of all of this, you can find it on Mordog's channel. It's full 50 minutes of details if you are interested. But in case you just want a TLDR version. When it comes to the traits, Rebels, Trainers and Legends are getting removed, as well as some other champions. From these, Nami won't be missed and Shen should burn in hell. There is also a big change for Dragon, because dragons now got their own trait. This fixed a really big issue. Before, when you were making a viable comp, in most cases you always had to think about what dragon you were going to get. Now that it is a separate trait, you can treat them as normal traits, kinda like Colossus in the last set. Because there weren't too many dragons before, Riot is not removing any of them, and in fact they are adding 5 new dragons. Now, when dragons first released, the main critique was that they were just reusing models. They didn't look unique enough since we got Galio, Shyvana and Aurelion twice. But thankfully the TFT devs are a bunch of geniuses and they utilized already existing draconic models from League. But they also created a brand new dragon. So, there is Zippy, which is using Skarl's model. Then there is Nomzi, who ascended from being a summon and now she is a standalone unit. A new big legendary dragon is Terra, who spawns damage reduction hexes for your team. Of course, it is using the Mountain Drake from League. Som is a new dragon who introduced a new trait. That trait is Lagoon, which gives you loot for every 5 spells your team casts. And it also gives you some ability power and attack speed. The dragon, Som, is interesting because originally it leaked with this model. This is the dragon from Lagoon Kai'Sa's Recall, so this wasn't a new model. But since then, Riot actually modeled and animated a brand new draconic model. If you don't count Silco, who might have been used for early League testing. This is the first unit that was built from scratch exclusively for TFT. Which means that since TFT may introduce unique models in the future, who knows, maybe Von Yip will see the light of day. And the last new dragon is Tyrant Swain with the Dark Flight trait. Similar to Legend, the Dark Flight sacrifices one of your units, and it then replicates one of their items to the other Dark Flight units. Of course, this only lasts 1 round. This sounds broken, but the math behind it is actually clever. This trait doesn't have offensive power. It only gives your team some health. So the power of this trait actually comes from the item you duplicate. There is one catch though. Emblems and non-craftable items turn into Dark Flight Essence. This item just gives you raw power. It is weak at the beginning, but it is stronger the more Dark Flight units die. And yes, Tyrant Swain is using his draconic model. Mort then showed us 9 new units that will fill the gaps. For example, because Taric was removed, Jade lost its frontline, so now we are getting a Jade Bruiser as a new frontliner. And then, all hail Astral rework. Astral no longer shoves Astral units into your shop. Instead, it gives you loot depending on the combined star level of all your units. So instead of rewarding you by making your units 3 stars, you first get 3 stars and then you are rewarded by Astral. This change should feel a lot less awful to everyone. When it comes to Treasure Dragon, 40% of your games it's gonna be just a Treasure Dragon. But 30% of the times, Treasure Dragon will guarantee you a Radiant item, and the other 30% of the times you will get the Chaotic Treasure Dragon, which can give you anything from Ornn items to emblems to target dummy. When it comes to specific items, there are 2 new reworks. Frozen Heart was only really good in one scenario, when it was on an assassin, even though it is a tank item. So it was reworked into Protector's Vow. Once the unit with this item drops to 50% health, it will give the units around it shield and resistances. So finally, it is a tanking item. And the other change is that Spear of Shojin actually gives you some ability power, but it gives you less mana, which makes it feel a lot more like a caster item. Lastly, we got a lot of new augments, and we don't really have the time to go through all of these. So from the interesting ones, there is Soul Siphon for Dark Flight. This one makes it so that the sacrifice also copies one of the traits of the unit. Lucky Gloves make it so that your gloves always give your units useful items. And Scoped Weapons give your backline units infinite range. That's it for the gameplay, so now let's talk about the cosmetics. We got 2 new draconic little legends. There is the foxy deer dragon called Prancy, which looks very soothing. But more importantly, there is a new cat dragon called Bango. Get it? Bango cat? And one of his versions has the exact same color palette as Felix. I doubt it was intentional, but if it's not a legendary, I'm buying it straight away. Besides that, there is a new sprite from the free pass. You can also unlock Regal Koi Starmo from the paid pass. But also there is a new Dragon Trainer Pengu. This is the gacha one. It has a 5% chance to drop from the new loot. And yes, even though I really don't like the chibi style, there are new chibi champions. It is Lee Sin with a new Storm Dragon version. And yes, Dragonmancer Lee Sin also has a new finisher. We all love these, don't we? They are not toxic at all. Then, besides the new booms, the pass will also give you 3 new boards. You can see, based on the top left corner, they are themed around Pengu, Umbra or Aoshin. The final tier 3 board from this pass will be the Grotto map. I love the color palette on this one so much. It's just zen. And also it has interactive elements. But of course, from the same loot that gives you the Pengu, we are also getting a brand new whale board. We've been there twice, it is a $200 board. I am done with rage. You are guaranteed to get it on your 61st chest. It's a big spa with a big turtle. It looks really awesome, but it is a bit too far from my price range. Lastly, they tried to showcase how all the new Lil Legends play the same music. Sounds off, doesn't it? Well, that's because they ignored the little circle underneath the Lil Legends. To match the music, you are supposed to start playing when the circle hits. Why, Umbra? Why? But that's it for TFT2, so let's finish the video with some Legends of Runeterra and Valorant. We'll talk about all the new Legends of Runeterra cards in a separate video. But I really need to mention one thing. Legends of Runeterra just got its first unique champion, and it is Norra. To be fair, Norra makes so much sense for this. Because of Yuumi and how her story is integrated into League, it is unlikely that we will also get Norra as a separate champion. Norra is not really a fighter, she's not really an enchanter, it would be really hard to make her work with her gameplay. Similar to what happened with Silco. So because Norra would be really hard to pull off in League, that's why they put her into Legends of Runeterra. It is a really clever integration of that character into the world. And I would love to see this more often in the future. So because Legends of Runeterra is getting unique champions now, maybe we'll see Necrit. And finally, Valorant got a new cinematic to celebrate the championship, which was also followed by a new trailer for the new episode. This introduced the new champion bundle, as well as new skins themed after specific agents, and also new skins themed after the Aztecs. They look really dope and I really love the melee weapon. But that is it for this episode of Rift News. I am glad we could jump back into some news without talking about any controversial topics. In fact, the new TFT mid set looks really interesting! And the Darking cards, right? I swear to God we talk about more than just MMOs.